Shalom Yeladim. Parashat Mishpatim, one of the most fascinating parshiyot in the Torah. Why? There barely is any stories. There is no stories, actually. The stories take a break for just one parasha. And after we got all the mitzvot, we got 10 special mitzvot, Aseret HaDiberot, Moshe went up to Har Sinai, the Aseret HaDiberot, the Har Sinai, all that beauty. The Torah stops and says, wait a second, I want to discuss halachot, not about Shabbat, not about berachot and tefillah, not about all that stuff. I want to talk about mitzvot that have to do between a Jew and his friend. Let's talk about it a second. The Torah gives us a case. Someone works by us. There's a cleaning lady, there's a janitor, someone fixes our car, a waiter in a restaurant. The Torah says we have to treat them so good that even better than the way we treat ourselves. If we have a nurse sleeping in our house and we only have one pillow, you got to give it to them. If you have only one plate of food, you got to give it to them. The people who work for us, except for just please and thank you, they get the first right for everything. In fact, the Torah tells us what happens if you treat them so nicely that they don't want to leave. You have someone working by you. They don't want to leave. The Torah says that he worked for you 6 years, and now it's the 7th year and he doesn't want to leave. What do? So you have to take him to the rabbis, and the rabbi has to punish him. They have to hurt his ear. Why? Because the Torah said you only work for Hashem, and this guy wants to work for you. Why does he want to work for you? Because you treated him so nicely. That's one of the most important mitzvot. I can't stress it enough. Is we have to treat the people who work for us. They are doing us such a great favor, and the Torah tells us we have to treat them like kings and queens, better than the way we treat our own self. Okay, that's one. Another thing, let's hide me. Mistakes happen. We play ball, we break something. You're playing with someone's toy and you break it. Mistakes happen. What happens when you make a mistake? Of course, you say it was you, right? And if you have to get punished, you get punished. But here's a person who hurt his friend. What does he do? He comes and he has to pay him. You have to pay him for the guy he couldn't walk. You have to pay him for the broken window. You have to pay him for the broken car, the broken toy. You have to pay it. Mistakes happen. Hashem put you in a situation where a mistake happened. You have to pay for your mistake. And here we have a case of someone who hurt someone by accident. And there's nothing embarrassing. You made a mistake. You have to pay for your mistake. It's okay. Sometimes people need help. And when people need help, it's a mitzvah to help them. Some people need money, right? We're gonna have Baruch Hashem, we're gonna have Purim coming up and Pesach coming up. There's a lot of families who don't have money, and the Torah says, except for the tzedakah, sometimes people don't want tzedakah, so you give them a loan. That means you give them money to borrow, and they have to pay you back the money. We're not allowed to take back extra money. So if I give them $5, I can't take back $6. I have to do the mitzvah. The Torah wants everyone to be treated like brothers. The same way you wouldn't be mean to your brother. You wouldn't take extra money from your brother. You can't take money from anybody else. Next, when two people are in front of you, we don't judge them by their appearance. One person might look very important. The other person might not look so important. And the Torah tells us we treat everyone the same. Everyone is treated equally. It doesn't make a difference where you come from, how you look like. Doesn't make a difference. Everyone is equal in the Torah. The Torah makes sure that everyone is treated equally and fair. You have to be nice to everyone. Everyone is good. We don't look at, this person looks like this, so he's good. That one looks that way, so he's bad. No. In the Torah's eyes, in Hashem's eyes, we look at the heart. We don't look at the outside. We look at the inside. And in the inside, Hashem says everyone is good. Next, if you see someone traveling, the Torah gives us a case. A long time ago, people used to travel with donkeys. And if someone's donkey fell and everything else fell, you got to go and help him. A lot of times you see a car on the highway. They're not, maybe the car broke down. They ran out of gas. It's a mitzvah to help them. It's a mitzvah to help. If their things fell, you get off and you help. A lot of times we see maybe a grandmother, an older person, maybe their things fell. It's a mitzvah to help pick our things up and help them across the street, help them get back home, wherever they have to get to, try to help as much as possible. You have a lot of times, of course, mommy and daddy, if they're coming from the store, they're holding a lot of bags. It's a mitzvah to help them, right? We know this. Open the door, help to get things out of the car. All this we know. But if there's other people, it's a mitzvah to help out also. If you find something in the hallway, you find something in shul, put it in the lost and found, or you put up a sign that says, I found something. Some people, sometimes people lose watches, some people lose jewelry like earrings and necklaces and bracelets, watches. Some people lose toys, especially in the hallway. A lot of times in the winter, children lose hats and scarves. And a lot of times children find it in the hallway and they look all over the yeshiva, all over the school until they found the person who lost it. And they make a special mitzvah, Hashabat Avedah. It's a very, very special mitzvah. When I get to do that mitzvah, I jump up for joy. It's amazing. It's Hashem's way of testing you, because when someone sees something nice, they want to keep it for themselves. But you're showing Hashem that I know this is not mine. I want to give it back to the right person. And Hashem loves that mitzvah. Okay, we've all seen this. Mommy makes something especially for Shabbat or something for guests, and you take a bite. You know you're not supposed to be taking that bite, but you do it anyways. If mommy asks who did it, you have to be honest. You have to say, I'm the one who did it. I'm the one who said this. I'm the one who broke that. We have to be honest. Even though you did a mistake, even though you're going to get punished, you still have to say the truth. Mommy has to know the truth. We can never say a lie. We have to make sure our mouth is a holy mouth. We say brachot, we learn Torah from this mouth. We only say the truth. The Torah also says, make sure you speak to mommy respectfully. The Torah really, really makes sure. Your mommy and daddy, you have to be very, very careful not to say anything mean to them. You have to be very careful. The parasha goes out of its way. It was not even on the right side on this subject, but we have to talk to. But the Torah mentions it that we have to talk respectfully. The Torah tells us this week we only eat kosher food. Now, there's a lot of kosher signs on food. We only eat food with kosher signs. Now, sometimes you can get mixed up. So what do? You don't just take anything off the shelf. That's why you have to ask mommy. If mommy says it's kosher, then we eat it. If mommy says she doesn't know, you could always ask a rabbi. You could always ask someone who understands in this stuff, and you could find out what is kosher, what is not kosher. And of course, we all know that if mommy says it's not kosher, there's no arguing. It's just not kosher. There's no crying, no, mommy, no. If mommy says not kosher, that's it. There's nothing to argue about. I saw this in the grocery where mommy, a kid brought a candy. Mommy said, no, this is not kosher. And the kid started crying. What are you crying about? It's not kosher. The Torah says you can't eat it. What do you want mommy to do? It's not kosher. There's nothing to argue about. We move on. If mommy chooses to get you something else, okay. But if not, there's nothing to argue. Now, once we're on that subject, the Torah tells us we don't eat meat and dairy. If you eat dairy, you have to wash your mouth, drink something, eat the bread or something, and then you could eat meat right away. But if you ate meat, if you ate chicken, you ate roast, you ate corned beef, you ate a hot dog, a hamburger, you have to wait 6 hours before eating dairy. You have to wait 6 hours, not a joke. Now, some houses, you'll even see 2 sinks, one for dairy, one for meat. Not everyone. Now you'll see almost in every house, you'll see some mommies have the dairy stickers, meat stickers, parvs. That means not meat or dairy. They have special stickers, so this way nobody gets mixed up. In every home, you'll see plates and dishes and spoons and forks and pots that are for dairy and for meat. And we don't cook the meat things, anything meat, we don't cook in the dairy pots, and we don't cook dairy things in the meat pot. Yeah, we don't use the dairy forks for meat, and we don't use the meat forks, spoons, and knives for dairy. We don't separate them. We don't mix it. We keep it separate. So let's say mistakes happen. Let's say I use a meat knife for dairy, or I use a dairy knife for meat things. What happens? Mistakes happen, right? We discussed this. So when mistakes happen, you don't throw out the fork. You don't wash it. It gets very interesting. You give it to mommy, and mommy has to make it kosher. How does mommy make it kosher? It's something called hag ala. Let's say it together. Hag ala. Hagala is when you take the meat, you take the plate, you take the fork, the spoon, the cup, whatever it was that you mixed, and that was meat, that you mix it with dairy, you mix it with meat, and you put it into boiling water. You put it into boiling water, and that makes it kosher again. It's called hagala. Now, some things you don't do a regular hagala. Sometimes you have to shoot it with a torch. That's like a fire gun. You see it over here, and you have to burn it in order to make it kosher again. That is hagala, and that's how we make things kosher. So there's a lot of mitzvot in this parasha. It's a special mitzvah parasha. Now, what's the point of all this? Is we have to learn how to be a Jew. We have to know how to follow the rules, not just when we're learning Torah and praying, also when we're at home, and also when we're when we're outside in the street. We have to make sure we keep the Torah's rules everywhere, and that's why this week we stop the stories and we talk about special mitzvot. Next week we'll go back to the stories. Very, very interesting thing is going to be built next week. Shalom, Yeladim.